Hi everyone, welcome or welcome back to another video. My name is Masandra. If you see my face for the first time, I am the owner of Mihankushea, so that's the reason why my crochet channel is called Mihankushea, or my actual name is Masandra Mustafa. Thank you so much for clicking, and thank you so much for 40,000 subscribers. Like, the fact that 40,000 people have decided to just click that button and say I want to be part of this family, I don't even know what to say. Like, I don't know what to say, but I'm super grateful for how far you guys have actually just brought me, and I cannot wait to reach so many more milestones with you guys. So like you've seen from the title and the thumbnail, we are making a gray skirt. The reason why I chose a gray, because I feel like having a gray skirt in your wardrobe just makes so much more sense. Like, it's just something you can play around with and just do whatever and wear this for the longest time. I think that's my goal for this year, because I also do fashion content online, so I want to make pieces that I can style with my own clothes and stuff, just so I can show more ways you can play around with crochet and not just crochet, if you guys get what I mean. I feel like for the past few years I have been crocheting and making items, but I can actually just wear them once and then I don't want to wear them again. So I'm super intentional about making pieces that I can wear all over and over again this year. That's the goal. So I'm not going to make this into super long. Let's get into the materials that you will be needing for this tutorial. I am going to go through with the materials that we will be using for this tutorial. So right here I have a bunch of yarn. I don't know, I have not gone yarn shopping in a long time, so when I finally did this week, I decided to buy the entire shop, because what is this, but it's fine. So I am going to, like I mentioned, and of course, like you guys already know, we are using gray. So I did have a lot of these, but I want to make this a set. So after the skirt, we look forward to the top. I'm thinking a top or a jacket, so let me know what you guys would want to have down below. Do you want a sweater or do you want a jacket instead? Because I would love to just I want to make myself a set, because the jacket is also something, or the sweater is also something you can also wear with different other items in your wardrobe. And again, like I mentioned, that's my goal for this year. So I'm using this medium weight yarn. At the end of the video, I'm going to tell you guys how many I used for my size, because of course I don't know at the moment, but I'm going to list everything down in the description box below. I'm using a medium weight yarn. So we are going to need a measurement tape to take a measurement, and just to measure the piece. We are going to need two different size hooks. So I have a 2.5, and then I have a 4.5. So these two is what we are going to need. And of course, we're also going to need some scissors so we can cut some yarn, and an elastic band. I do not have an elastic band at the moment, but I'm going to grab mine this afternoon, so we are going to need an elastic band as well. So we are going to be using a 2.5 for the band. You can use whatever yarn, but I suggest you go for a yarn that is smaller than 4.5, because then the band is going to be very fitted, and then the stitches are going to be a bit tighter compared to the rest of the stitches. So to get started, it's super easy. We are just going to make a slip knot, and then I chained a total of 50, and 50 is basically the band of the skirt, and that's because I want it to be high-waisted. If you don't want it to be high-waisted, you're just going to take your measurement from where you want the skirt. You want the skirt to start up until your hips area. So I'm just going to go ahead and chain 50. After chaining a total of 50, I am going to chain an extra one, which is going to be the turning chain. And so from here on, we are going to go into the second chain from the hook with a half double crochet. So you're going to yarn over, insert your crochet hook into the second chain, pull through, and now you have 3 loops. You're going to yarn over and pull through the rest of the 3 loops. So again, you're going to yarn over, go into the next stitch with a half double crochet, and you're going to yarn over and go into the next chain with a half double crochet. And this is what you're going to repeat until you get to the very end of this row. So after your first row, this is what your work looks like. Now we are going to start with a chain 1. Again, the chain 1 is going to be like a starting chain and not a stitch. So you're going to chain 1 and turn and right into this first stitch. Hopefully you guys can see. So you're going to chain 1 and turn and right into the first stitch from the previous row. You're going to go in the back loop. Again, these are the back loops, so usually we'll just go into both loops, but you're just going to go into the back loop of each stitch. So you're going to bend your work slightly, and then into this first stitch you're going to go into the back loop with the same half double crochet stitch, because again this band is basically made from half double crochet. So right there you're going to go into the next again with another half double crochet, and guys, that's what you're going to repeat all through this row. And when you get to the end, you're going to chain 1 and repeat this until the band is wide enough, basically your waist measurement. You're going to repeat each row. Make sure you don't forget to chain 1 at the beginning so you don't miss a stitch, and you're going to go into the back loop of each stitch from the previous row with 1 half double crochet. At the end, chain 1 and repeat this all over again until your band, or this part of the skirt, because this is not basically a band, is wide enough to go around your waist. Don't stretch it out. It has to be your waist measurement when it's unstretched, because you want to make sure that it's wide enough to go above your hips and to your waist when you want to wear your skirt. So I'm gonna get my done, and then I'll see you guys when I have it complete. So right here I have my band complete. Again, you're going to make sure you make this as long as your waist measurement, the exact measurement, when it's not in the stretch form. So when you stretch this, it should be wide enough to go around your hips, which is basically going to make everything fit in the way it should. For reference, I'm just going to show you guys what the measurement is for mine. So right here you can see that mine is actually 15 inches, and then obviously 15 inches by 2 is going to be 30 inches, which is my waist measurement. So now we are going to go ahead and attach these two ends of the panel so we can start working around the circumference of the skirt, and which is basically the edge of the skirt. So I'm just going to go into this, and I'm going to insert my crochet hook and start working. I'm just going to find the first stitch. Again, my yarn is still attached to the last row. I'm just going to find the first stitch, go in right there with, and then I'm just going to single crochet until I get to the very end. You can use a slip stitch if that's work for you, if that is what you want to go for, but I'm using a single crochet for this. So I'm just basically grabbing first stitch and the one on the opposite end and just single crochet it together. So from here on, I'm going to go ahead and cut off this yarn, and I'm just going to go ahead and sew in my loose ends. I basically like to do this while I work, because at the end of the day I don't want to make time to go through everything and just sew in all the loose ends again. I just do it while I'm working on the panel and turn, because now we are going to start working at the, so this is what it looks like after everything has been attached. So I'm just going to cut this excess off as well. Yeah, so this is what it looks like. So now we are going to start working around the side of the panel. I am going to switch to a bigger size, so I am going to switch to a 4.5 for the rest of this skirt. So I'm going to grab my yarn. I'm actually still on the second ball. I'm going to grab my yarn, and then we are going to turn this around. So remember, because where the seam is basically going to be at the center of the back, so this is going to be right at the back, while this is going to be the front. So I'm just going to grab my yarn and attach it to one side of the panel, so making sure that the center is actually right at the center and not at the side. You're going to attach your yarn to the side with a slip knot. and I usually just make an extra knot just so everything is secure. After your extra knots, we are going to go around the skirt with single crochet rows. So I'm just going to go into that space and I'm going to chain one, and after chaining one, I'm going to go into every available space available here with one single crochet. There's actually no way I can explain this better for you guys, but I'm just going to go into every available space with one single crochet with my 4.5 millimeter. So I'm going to grab my stitch marker and I'm just going to go ahead and mark this first stitch so I know where my first stitch is, and that's basically where I'm going to start and end off my row. So I'm just going to mark that. Usually I wouldn't, but so coming to the end of my first row, I'm going to make sure I continue with one single crochet in every stitch. And when I get to this first stitch where my stitch marker is, I'm going to take off the stitch marker and I'm going to go ahead and slip stitch into this first stitch to end of the row. I don't know, for some reason the tension is just not given. Yeah, I'm going to slip stitch into that first stitch. So we basically have the first row complete. So this is going to be the increase row, and for the increase we are going to do something a little bit different. I'm still experimenting because I have an idea of what I want, how I want the ruffles to look like, but I'm not too sure if that's what it's going to give for the first attempt. So what I'm going to do, we are going to chain 3. This chain 3 is a double crochet, by the way, and we are going to go into the next stitch with a double crochet, and into the next 4 stitch you're going to go with 1 double crochet each. So basically we have a double crochet, chain 3, and 5 double crochets, which in this case is the same as 6 double crochets. And into the 7th double crochets we are going to do 3 double crochet into that same space, all into the same space. From here you're going to go into the next double crochet with a double crochet, into the next 6 double crochets, so with 1 double crochet each. After your 6 double crochet in the next following 6, you're going to go into the next one with 3 double crochet, all in that same space. And from here you're going to go into the next 6 stitch with 1 double crochet in each stitch. And right after that, into the 7th you're going to go with 3 double crochets. And guys, that is what I'm basically going to repeat until I get to the very beginning where I did my chain 3, and then I'll see you guys at the very beginning so we can end off the row. So guys, coming to the end, I just did my last 3 double crochets into that 7th stitch, so I have less than 6 stitches. I can't even not talk. So I have less than 6 stitches, so I'm just going to go into the remaining stitch with 1 double crochet each until I get to the very beginning. Of course this is going to be different for everyone depending on how many single crochets you did at the beginning of the row, but honestly this does not really matter when it comes to, if you have the exact measurement that I mentioned for the waist, you're good. You're going to have your skirts the same measurement and the same sizing. Guys, I cannot talk for some reason, I don't even know. So now to get started with the first row, usually I would go into this chain 3 space with a slip stitch, but if you've seen few of my tutorials, you know I don't like to end of my row. I just like to go right above the previous row with my next row because I feel like it gives it the seamless look instead of just slip stitching into each row and get started with the next row. It just does not work for me. So I'm going to go right into this chain 3 space we did at the beginning with a double crochet to end off and get started with my next row. And from here on, I'm just going to go into each stitch with 1 double crochet. So right here I just did 7 double crochets, right? So remember we did a chain 3 at the beginning of the 3 double crochet into the 7th at the beginning of the row. So what we're going to do in the next row is we are going to find the middle stitch, and we are going to go into that center stitch with 3 double crochets. And into the next stitch you're going to go with 1 double crochet, which means basically you have 7 instead of 6. So from the previous row we had 6, in the next row we are going to have 7. So this is going to be the increase pattern that we're doing for the skirt. So from here on you're going to go into the next 6 stitch, because I already did 1 double crochet in this stitch with 1 double crochet. And at the center you're going to go, and afterwards you're going to find the 3rd stitch, the center stitch in this set of 3 double crochets. I hope you guys can see what I mean. And you're going to go into that center stitch with 3 double crochets, and afterwards you're just going to repeat 1 double crochet until you get to the next set of 3 double crochets. Find the center stitch, and then you're going to go into that center stitch with 3 double crochets. So this pattern is basically what I'm going to repeat all around, and when I get to the very beginning I'll come back and show you guys what row 3 is going to be like, and the rest of the row as well. Well, you can already see the ruffles are forming, and this is the ruffles that I'm going for. So I'm going to repeat this entire pattern, and then I'll see you guys at the very end. So right here, coming to the end of the row, I'm going to just go into the last few remaining stitches and go right above the previous row to get started with the next row. So this is the increase pattern, and this is basically the pattern I'm going to repeat. So I'm going to just work double crochet in the previous row up until I get into the 3 sets of double crochets that I did into 1 stitch, and we are going to go right into that stitch with the middle stitch, of course, because that's what we've been doing. We are going to go into the center stitch. So right into this center stitch I'm going to go with 3 double crochets again, and that is basically going to be the increase. And from there I'm going to go 1 double crochet in each stitch until I get into the 3 sets of double crochets again, and I'm going to go into the center again with 3 double crochets. And this is what the increase pattern is basically, and that's what I'm going to repeat all around. And when I get to the beginning I'm just going to go right above the stitch and repeat the same thing. So right here at the center of this stitch I'm going to go with 3 double crochets. You're basically going to go into the 3rd stitch. I hope you guys can see. You can see that I have 1, 2, 3. I'm going to go into this 3rd, the one at the center, the 2nd one, sorry. I'm going to go with 3 double crochet. And this is what the ruffle pattern looks like. And I'm going to repeat this until I have my desired skirt length. So whenever you get to the center you're going to do 3 double crochets into that 3rd double crochet, and you're going to repeat this all around. And then at the very end, when I have my desired length, it's currently, let's check, this is currently 9.5 inches, 10 inches, sorry, this is currently 10 inches, and I'm going to repeat this up until I get a total of 16 to 17. I'm not sure what length I'm going for, but I'll come back in a bit and show you guys what the next step is. Hey guys, so it's been a couple of days, and this is what I think I'm on my 4th. I think I'm on my 4th. Wait, let me think. 1, 2, 3, 4, like I'm on my 5th yarn basically, and I'm not like pissed. I thought this was gonna take me just a short time, but I love the way it's turning out. I definitely need to add the length because it's still a little bit too short, because I want this to be high-waisted. Let me pull this down a bit so you can see right here that it's still, obviously the waistband is big, so we are going to adjust this. That is the reason why we need an elastic for that. But this is what it looks like so far. I just wanted to come on and give you guys an idea of what it looks like. The ruffles and stuff is going to take you time because, as you guys know, we are increasing throughout the rows, so that's going to take you a little bit more time, but I'm sure you would be obsessed when you're done. Because look at this. Look at this magic, guys. So I actually just finished my 5th ball of yarn. I do not want to spend an extra yarn going on through the skirt, and I feel like the length is actually okay at this point. It should be about 18 inches, which is long enough. But of course this is optional. You can definitely make this as long or as short as you want. Let me show you guys what it looks like at the moment. So this is what we have going on, and like you guys seen from the last clip, it's actually, the waistband is a little bit big, so now we are going to go to the table and we are going to add an elastic band to the waistband so it can actually fit the waist perfectly. I'm also going to show you guys our end of the row, because again, like I said, I'm working around, so I have a technique that I use to end off my row, so it actually is seamless at the edge of everything. So let's go to the table and I'll show you guys how we can do that. So yeah, I have my elastic band. What I usually do is just go around where I want my skirt to actually start. So again, I want mine to be super high-waisted, so usually it's just where this legging actually starts. So I'm just going to go around with the elastic band to make sure I do not stretch the elastic band. It's actually just in the natural state, so when I actually just cut this, it's gonna be wide enough to fit around my waist and also go around my hips. Because if you stretch this out and do your exact waist measurement, it might not be able to go around your hips, and that's not what we're going for. So you're just going to take your exact waist measurement and cut your elastic right at the edge, and then you're going to tie this. You can either tie it, use a sewing machine to attach the 2 ends, or even a needle and thread, but I'm going to tie it because I'm making this skirt for myself. It's not a custom order, so if you're making this for someone else, then I'll suggest you do that. So guys, I'm going to switch back to my 2.5 millimeter so we can end off the row. So we were using a 4.5. Usually what I do is I just switch back to a smaller hook, because this is going to just seamlessly end off the entire row. So again, I have this amount of yarn remaining. I do not want to go in with another yarn because I feel like I already reached my length, but you can do as long as you want your skirt to be. So what I usually do for to end off my row, I just go into the last few stitches with double crochet, and then from a double crochet I just switch to half double crochet, and I do like few of half double crochets, I do a few of single crochets. So you're basically going from a longer stitch to a shorter stitch, and that's how you're seamlessly going to end off the row. So after a few half double crochets, I'm just going to go with some single crochets, and then after a few single crochets I'm going to go with a slip stitch. And because I don't have a lot of yarn remaining, I'm just going to slip stitch into a few, and then into the last one, let's zoom in a bit, and to the very last one I'm just going to yarn over and seal this. And then usually with this remaining yarn, I'm just going to sew into the rest of the remaining stitches that I just made. So basically just go into the stitches and then I sew it in. Just like that. Just like that. And then of course I'm going to cut off my yarn. You can see that we just seamlessly just end off this row and everything looks the way it should. So with that being done, we are going to go to the elastic band. So for the elastic band, remember when I said this area where I actually single crochet the two edge of the band is going to be the back. It's going to be at the center of the back of the skirt, so you have to make sure you keep that in mind. So what I usually do is I just make sure that is what is actually flat on the surface, because that's going to be the reference for the back of the skirt basically. And right here I have my elastic band. Again, you're just going to make a knot, or you sew this together, guys. You can do whatever you want to do. I would not suggest you go for elastic band that is bigger. They actually have one that is smaller than this one, but I went for this one instead because I think I kind of did not find the other one. So you're just going to make sure you make a knot, and I usually just go extra just to make sure it's secure. And I would not cut the edge of it, because there's a way you can actually just go above these edges so you don't so you won't be able to see them. So that's what we're going to do. For the elastic band, I'm going to switch back to my 4.5 millimeter for the elastic band. So you're going to grab your yarn for this band, and then again, like I mentioned, this side of the band is going to be at the center of the back. So basically there, that's the reason why I said you have to keep this in mind, because this is where you're going to, this is basically going to be what is it called, it's just going to be a point for you to know that this is where your skirts should, this part of the skirt should be at the back basically. So what I usually do for my elastic band, I grab my yarn, zoom in a bit. So I usually just grab my yarn and then I make a knot so I can secure the yarn to the skirt. And of course I'm going to go in with extra knots just to make sure this is secure. And afterwards I'm going to grab my elastic band. Now that my yarn is secure, I'm going to just act as if I'm about to start to stitch. So basically yarn over until I have the yarn on my crochet hook. And now what I do is I take the elastic band and make sure it's underneath the yarn, so it will be easy for me to go over the elastic band. So I just make sure the elastic band is right underneath the yarn, and from here I'm going to go into the next available stitch on the skirt, and I'm going to go underneath the elastic. Usually you're just going to yarn over and make a stitch. So because we are attaching the elastic, I'm going to go underneath the elastic. You can also see that this side, which is the extra that I need to cut off, that I did not cut off, is actually just laying flat. So because I want to go over this and the elastic itself, so I don't have to do this at the end, just so basically it's well secured. So what I do is I just, again, I'm going to grab, make sure my elastic is on my crochet hook is underneath the elastic, and I'm just going to grab the elastic right above, and then I make a single crochet, and that's my first stitch. Again, I'm going to go into the next available stitch, make sure my crochet hook goes underneath the elastic, grab the elastic, and then I make another stitch. Again, I'm going to go into the next available stitch, make sure my crochet hook goes underneath the elastic, grab the elastic, and then I make a single crochet. And right here you can see that we basically just covered the knots. You cannot see the knot right there. See, from this end you can see that the knot is covered. So that is what I'm going to repeat all over. So into the stitch, the next available stitch, grab your yarn, make sure it's underneath the elastic, and then you make a single crochet. And that's what I'm going to repeat all over. And then if I get to a point where the elastic is all covered, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to stretch it, because again, it's an elastic, so it's very stretchy. Guys, so coming to the edge, I do kind of have excess elastic right here. Sometimes I would actually just go in and just stretch off so I can have more room, so I don't have to cut off the elastic, because you guys did see that I just took my exact measurement. But of course it's an elastic, so this is super stretchy, so I think I'm gonna cut off the excess just because I feel like it's not really needed. I'm not going to cut too much, because like I mentioned, I do want to make sure that the elastic band is wide enough to go above my hips to get to my waist, right? But at the same time, if it's going to be super wide, then what's the point of actually having an elastic on if it's going to be too wide? So if in case yours is the same, you can also just go ahead and cut off the excess. So that's what I'm going to do. So I'm just going to grab a scissors and cut right at the center, and now I'm going to make a knot. So I still have not sealed off the yarn yet. It's still attached because I have the excess one. So now I'm just going to make a knot. So now we're going to have 2 knots, guys. So I'll just suggest maybe you just stretch the elastic instead, but then make sure you're not doing it too tight, because again, the goal is just to make sure that the skirt can actually go right above your hips, right? So now this is what we have, and I think this is wide enough to go above my hips. So now I'm going to cut off these excess ends of the elastic. So it's looking a bit messy, but I'm sure I can work my way around it. So now I'm just going to go ahead and finish off my few last rows stitches in this case. So I still have this space right here, so I'm just going to go in there with a single crochet, and I usually just make sure I go right above this extra that I have lying around. So I'm just going to go into this next available space, and then I'm just going to single crochet my way up until I get to the very beginning. And that is basically my first stitch. So I'm going to slip stitch into the next few stitches, and I'm going to cut off my yarn and seal this. And of course I'm going to go ahead and sew in this excess yarn, and I usually just go through the elastic band. So I'm going to go right into this, grab the yarn and sew this in, and I do that for a few more just so it's secure. Grab the yarn and I sew this in, and going to cut off this. This is the final look. So you can see that the elastic is hidden. Sometimes you can see the white because obviously it's white and not gray, so you can see that. That's the reason why I suggest that you sew in your elastic with a needle and thread, or with just a sewing machine. That's what I do if I'm working on a custom piece, because that's more professional. But of course, this is my skirt, I don't have to go through all that. So I'm going to put the skirt on, and I'll show you guys what it looks like on in the next clip. This is the final result. As you can see, I'm in love, and I cannot wait to just wear this over and over and over and over again. I'm obsessed with this thing. I feel like, anyway, this is the final result. Let me know what you guys think, and if you do get to make yourself one, don't forget to tag me at Mihankushea, because I would love to repost and see the colors that you guys actually. You don't have to make this in gray. I would suggest you do, because again, this is just something you can play with. Right now I have this shirt on, and it looks so good. It looks like, I feel like a student, but I'm not even a student, you know. I feel like a student in a private school, you know. That's what it's given. But anyway, let me know what you guys think, and if you have not liked this video up till now, I'm giving you guys premium content. Premium content. Please like, share and comment, and let me know what you guys want to see next. Let's all see you guys in another video. Bye bye.